John Harbaugh here on the Rich Eisen Show. Let me cross out that first question. Is Lamar Jackson a quarterback? Okay. The coach here from the Baltimore Ravens on the Rich Eisen Show. How are you, Coach?
Great to be with you, Rich. Appreciate it, man.
So do you recognize the voice of that man?
I don't know. Who was that guy? I guess I was kind of fired up yesterday. I didn't know I got so fired up on it, man. I did. The guy that asked the question, too, he's one of our in-house guys, so right after that, I got on him about his haircut a little bit. The haircut needs a little work. So,
well,
but it was fun. You know, I mean, hey, you get the same question all the time. It's the kid can throw. Okay, he can throw.
Well, I know. I guess what folks are trying to see is how quickly you think he can progress to being maybe a pass-oriented guy first. Maybe that might have been a better way to get it to that subject.
Well, I mean, you have to throw it in this league. There's no question about it, and he is that. And the fact that, like, he's getting asked so much, I get it, you know, and all that, but he can throw. We see him in practice every single day. He threw pretty darn well at Louisville, and, you know, and we've watched him develop, and we wouldn't have taken him if we didn't think he was that guy. So you got to throw it. We're not going to run the quarterback that many times down the road. It was a good start. I think he built from there, and the way the game was going, it worked out for us. You know, we were in pretty good shape there for most of the time, and the running game was working. So you kind of keep going with it. But I think we keep building. You try to put a rookie quarterback in position to be successful. You know, you want him to be successful, and you want to win the game and do what you have to do to win. But I really have no question, no doubt whatsoever, based on seeing him every day in practice, that he's going to be able to be a pass-oriented guy. You have to be in this league. That's why we took him. So it's a good question, and I'm confident he's going to do well.
So my question for you is as well, because that in terms of making him successful, you clearly put more or had plays in the playbook that you brought up that you absolutely, stating the obvious, wouldn't have with Joe Flacco under center. Do you think that it would have looked as good as it did if you didn't have a bye week before that?
That's a good question. It probably helped us. We didn't really practice on the bye week, though, Rich. We had one extra day on Monday. We have been practicing those plays from the beginning, and Joe actually has run some of those plays in games. You know, some of the RPOs and even, believe it or not, one or two of the reads. Although Joe definitely wants to give it more. You know, Lamar keeps it probably a little more often, but we've dabbled in that stuff, and Lamar's done some of it in games. But you know, when Lamar was going to take every snap, you know, and the fact that it was new and people hadn't seen it before. You know, hey, man, take advantage of it and let's roll. But I do think that you're going to see more passing out of us as the games come on, you know, with Lamar playing.
So how is Joe right now?
He's good. He's getting better. You know, his hip is a non-surgical deal. It just needs a little rest. So I would say he's got an outside chance for this week, and then going forward, his chances get better.
Okay. And then how we noticed that Lamar did not change out of his full uniform for his post-game press conference. Is that something that you're going to try to coach him up on as well?
That's a good point. I just know he kept his shoulder pads on and everything, didn't he?
It looks like it to me, yeah.
I think the kid wants to play. He wants to keep playing, probably.
He wanted another quarter, but I'm sure you were happy to get out in regulation, though.
Right.
So where do things stand for your team right now? Obviously 5-5. You got 6 games left to go. Where do you like your chances as you are currently the 6th seed here?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's a great league. You know, we would love to be a 1-loss team or a 2-loss team and all that, and we really could have been. I mean, we've lost the close games. We've won some blowouts. We played some pretty good teams. We lost 3 in a row. We lost to some pretty darn good teams. You know, the Saints and the Steelers are good, and Carolina's had some good games. They played great against us, and that was our little 3-game losing streak, you know, close games, tough games, and we lost them. So here we are, tied with 5 teams for, you know, 6th place, I guess is what you'd say. And so I guess what that means to me basically is, you know, if you've written us off, we're not out, and if you're counting us in, we're definitely not in. We're right there, and it's going to be determined by what happens the next 6 games. I like our guys, though, Rich. I mean, I would bet on the Ravens. You know, I would if we were allowed to, but the league kind of frowns on that.
Yes.
Pete Rose, you know, I got a baseball from Pete Rose, man, a signed baseball from Pete Rose, and he says, "I'm sorry, I bet on baseball." It's great.
Are you serious?
Yeah, isn't that great? Yeah, signed ball. I love it.
From Pete.
From Pete himself.
Okay,
yeah.
Very good. For those, you know, we live in a fantasy football world, as I'm sure you saw on Monday night, and I'd like to ask you about that game in a second. Can you tell folks, where did Gus Edwards come from? Who is this kid?
Not out of nowhere, but I guess everybody seems to think he did. No, he was a free agent, rookie free agent out of Rutgers. He's a hard-working guy. It's kind of funny at the end of the game. You know, it's hard to get Gus to smile. A serious, down-to-earth guy. So finally, the guys, he got the game ball, and the guys, you know, we didn't ask him for a speech, but we did ask him for a smile, and he gave us a smile. So he's been working hard, man. He's been looking good in practice, so it was just great to see him have his coming out party.
Ravens head coach John Harbaugh here on the Rich Eisen Show. As you know, in the NFL, there's inside the building and then there's the outside the building conversation about what goes inside the building. From what I saw during that 3-game losing streak, Coach, to be very honest with you, I was surprised to hear some conversation coming out of the Mid-Atlantic that you might be coaching for your job. Would you agree with that assessment?
Well, I mean, I think everybody's coaching for their job. Everybody's playing for their job. That's the nature of the National Football League. So you coach. I think you go to work every day, and the mindset basically is not to keep a job; it's to do the job. And that's the way I've been looking at it for 11 years and for 34 years in coaching. So I don't care about any of that stuff. I know it didn't come from inside the building, although the quote unquote source, the NFL source, whoever this NFL source guy is, he's got a lot of information, but a lot of it turns out not to be true. So hopefully that one turns out not to be true too. But I love it here. I love the players. It's just been a blast coming to work with these guys every day. This is such a fun team. They work so hard. They buy in. There's no drag. They want to be great, and we're chasing that. I mean, I think we have a chance to be a great football team. So we got to find our way in the playoffs and roll and see what we do. And it all starts with Oakland this week.
So before we get again to other matters, maybe in the collegiate area, I want to ask you about that Monday Night Football game and what you, as somebody who's been in this league for as long as you have, thought about the game and the number of points scored and the style of play and all of that, Coach.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, fun. I know what jumped out at me was speed. And what you originally start thinking about is matchups. We had the Rams in here. We practiced against them for 2 days here. So we got it was great for us to work against those guys and all those talented guys and that great offense that Coach McVay's running. Of course, I've been with Andy. Was with Andy for 10 years. So, it's fun to watch it. But really from a defensive perspective, and that's where I'm coming from on it. You're just trying to figure out, okay, now how are we going to try to stop that? We do play the Chiefs in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
How are we going to match up? What kind of coverages? How are we going to get pressure? Those are the things you think about. So, I mean, I don't think that there's going to be 50 points scored in every game in football because those defensive players have a lot of pride and they've got some talent. So, hopefully we can find a way to slow them down.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because there's a conversation this morning about the demise of defense in the NFL and how this is a watershed game for that, perhaps in this day and age where defensive rules are tilted towards the offense, or we're now in year 7 or 8 of a collective bargaining agreement where practice schedules, where you can't put guys in pads as much and there's not much fundamentals being taught because of that this is the culmination of all of that. What would you say to that theory?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I think there's some truth to all that, and definitely defenses had big advantage. If you go back to like the 70s and the 60s, the defenses did hold all the cards. I mean, heck, linemen had to hold their knuckles together, right, and block with their elbows. So a lot of these changes have been great, but I think the epitaph is being written way too soon on defense. One game does not, a history make, and we'll be, defensive coaches are going to figure out how to stop people and all that. And a lot of it has to do with the way the rules are interpreted, too, the way it's called from year to year. And, there are rules to protect the defenders from push-offs and things like that. So, I think as long as we stick with the rules as they're written and they're officiated that way, which they will be, and, we'll be fine. There's a lot of talented guys who can play defense. I mean, there are guys who can cover these guys. There are guys who can beat offensive linemen and get to the quarterback and sack the quarterback, or at least hurry him, and force the ball a little quicker. You saw that last night. I mean, that kind of turned the game, right? So I'm not too worried about defenses. It's week to week, man. It's a week-to-week league.
It is that. It's amazing. And again, I mean, you do have the number one defense in many metrics going into the Thanksgiving week. And I don't want you to give too much away, obviously, since you are taking on Andy Reid and the Chiefs in just a few weeks. But Rod Woodson always told me when the Wildcat was huge, or when different offensive wrinkles would happen, that just give defensive coordinators an offseason and they're gonna nail it down. What do you think with this style of play could be the nail down on the defensive side of the ball, Coach?
Well, I don't think they're doing anything that's like new to the game. I mean, it's all concepts that have been run before, and I think they do a good job of attacking coverages as they see them, of getting you in the right coverage and going after them with certain routes, and just really executing really well with speed. So it's the combination of the quarterback play, the offensive line giving them enough time, and these receivers running fast, crisp routes. So the timing and the precision of the passing game has been so good. I mean, the Chiefs have a running back that's breaking tackles left and right. So, again, to me, Rich, it comes back to the players. I mean, the great thing about the National Football League, it's a players' league, so coaches will keep up. They'll find ways to neutralize each other's schemes. In the end, the players are going to make the difference. They're going to make the plays, and that's what the fans want to see. And really, that's what they saw last night. They saw great precision, great execution with a bunch of really talented, fast guys doing it. And that's what made it fun.
Okay, last one for you. Again, I know you're the 6th seed now entering Thanksgiving week. You come off a big win. You got Lamar Jackson there, and Flacco, hopefully for you, coming back soon if you need. Raiders coming up. But forgive me for asking, how's your brother doing? How's he feeling right now?
He's pretty pumped up, Rich. I mean, he's pretty fired up. He's a little nervous, like the last, as you know, because you follow it. I mean, you're like on the edge of your seat every single week with these guys, right?
Yes.
And I've been following it too. I mean, it's way harder to watch Michigan football, or for my case, Georgia basketball with Tom and Joni Crean.
That's right.
Than it is to watch the Ravens. I mean, it is so hard. I mean, you're just stomping around your living room, right? But they've been playing great, and the fact that they got through this stretch and got Michigan State and got Penn State and got Indiana, they got all these teams, and now they got the game that they've been waiting for, and this is the one that matters. So I mean, this is it, man. This is Michigan Ohio State, 12 o'clock.
It is. I know. Isn't that great? Noon Eastern. They're not changing it for anybody.
Never. That's never going to be a night game.
No, that's the way Bo and Woody did it. That's the way it's always been done. Do you have got a good memory of Jack, your dad, being on the staff of Bo on an Ohio State week? You got a good story here?
Well, we had these jobs on the sideline. We were spotters, and they had a plugger deal. They had certain cords that had to be plugged in, and then sometimes we were in the press box running hot dogs to the media and all that, and so we always had jobs at the games. And I can remember standing right near Woody Hayes, right near him, tearing up sideline markers. He's in a short sleeve shirt, and I can just remember how, and it was freezing cold. It's Michigan, it was freezing cold. I can remember how pink he was. Like his whole body was pink. He had to be freezing. But Woody, with the glasses, he didn't flinch. It's just, it's the 10-year war, man. It's Michigan, Ohio State. I'm half tempted to guarantee victory for him. What do you think?
Well, Karan, I don't know if your brother's going to like this, but Karan Higdon, I don't know if you're aware, he guaranteed a win. He said it was happening.
I did see that. Let me tell you something. I got a feeling Jim loves that. What do you think?
I do too. That's what I said earlier in the show here, John, is that this kid's going to have to run for 100 yards. Speak it into existence. Here we go. It's a different era with the guarantee stuff, I believe.
Yeah, not playing.
Right?
Let's not be scared. We're not running scared here. Let's go compete.
Okay.
What you got?
So where are you going to be? Are you going to be tuned in? I mean, I know again you got a game. I mean, will you be able to have something on? I mean, were you going to be?
No, that's our break. Yeah, we practice until about 11 on Saturday, and then we have some time till our night meetings at 5.
Okay.
So it's like the perfect window.
Okay. And do you like FaceTime in to who's having Thanksgiving? Your dad or Jim next door? Who hosts the Thanksgiving in Ann Arbor? Do you know?
Well, it's a great question. Sarah's a great cook, but I got a feeling my mom probably in charge of that right next door. I don't know. I mean, we didn't get the invite this year for obvious
reasons. Well, you're busy. You're busy.
I know. But, you like to get the invite at least.
I know.
Can I get a call?
I know. By the way, we do a Thanksgiving morning show every year now because we were on the road for the Horror Bowl of Thanksgiving with San Francisco at Baltimore, and it went so well that we do it every single year. So
awesome.
I'll never forget that game, and obviously the year that was. So I always appreciate you whenever we have a conversation. So thanks for calling in, Coach. Appreciate
you too, Rich. Thanks for having me. Great being with you. And have a great week. Much to be grateful for.
Okay. Well, I mean, looking forward obviously to Thanksgiving and to see your game on Sunday. But then there's that filet mignon right in the middle that I'm hoping to enjoy on Saturday.
Right. All right, man. Happy Thanksgiving.
You too. That's John Harbaugh, head coach of the Baltimore Ravens, here on The Rich Eisen Show.
The Rich Eisen Show, weekdays at noon Eastern on Audience.